1/2 pounds, from Houston, Texas, undefeated as a professional, 13 victories, 1 draw, 9 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, the challenger, Andre Big Daddy McCall. And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks and weighing an even 192 pounds. He's from Sharon Hill, Pennsylvania. As a professional, 16 victories, only 2 defeats, 13 KOs. He's one of the top-ranked cruiserweights in the world, now holding the NABF Cruiserweight Championship, smoking Bert Cooper.
You gentlemen were given the rules of the North American boxing. Protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Touch gloves. Touch him. God bless. Let's go.
Scheduled for 12 rounds. There is young McCall. He's just 18 years of age, from Houston, Texas, against the much more experienced Cooper, who's fought some tough heavyweights, some cruiserweights. He has held his title for 18 months. He has defended it successfully. And as you've heard in the analysis by Dave Bontempo, he's back to fighting where he should be. That is weight level of 192, about 17 pounds lighter than he was when he lost to Carl Williams. But McCall is taking it to him early. We have got a brawl in our hands just seconds into the first round.
Well, there certainly is quickness evidence here. Cooper shocked McCall.
Yeah, he caught him coming in with a couple of solid shots. McCall was the one who initiated all this. The youngster a little anxious to get it rolling early, but he's paid a price for it. Remember, Cooper took out Willie DeWitt in Regina, Saskatchewan earlier this year. 3 knockdowns in 2 rounds just devastated him, so he can go to work early with effectiveness.
So much for the early strategy Cooper thought he would use, which is the jab. He's been power punching effectively, and the right hands have been good shots, good right uppercut. McCall is stepping up in class, and there are some who feel he's stepping up way too much. Tonight we're going to find out.
He has 9 KOs in his 13 wins. He has 1 draw. He has not been beaten yet as a pro. Well, Cooper might have been startled by it. He's just 21 years of age, nonetheless has the experience to withstand this kind of assault, and has. He came back and he stunned McCall coming in about 30 seconds into this round. Now they have slowed appreciably. They can hardly continue the way they started.
Now
just halfway in the round.
They seem to realize the fight might be scheduled for at least 3.
I thought it was going to last about 3 seconds for a while. They came in as though they were both double parked with the motor running.
And the loser pays the toll.
Exactly. Not wanting for action, the first round of this cruiserweight title bout. Cooper was trained by Joe Frazier, now by J.J. Johnson and Don Turner. Hard chopping blows by Bert Cooper, finding the mark.
Well, we've seen quickness from him so far, which is what he promised.
Didn't expect he'd have to show the quickness quite so quickly, but he has. McCall's plan was to rush from his stool, and he did, like a mad bull. With the left coming through, with just seconds to go, and a very active first round. And you have trouble imagining it going the 12-round distance, having seen what they've shown us so far. I think Bert had to be a little surprised by that.
You got to jump on this guy. Give me the spit bucket. Give me the spit bucket in the water. You got to jump on this guy. He's ready to go, man.
You had him out 3 times, man. He's out, man. So let him off the hook. When you rocking back, jump on him, man.
The beginning of the fight showed a tremendous pace. McCall initiates with the left hook. Cooper backs up, and he misses a couple. Right now, it's McCall's fight, but then Cooper lands a left hook. Comes through with a right hand after that. And both fighters, you saw their heads straight down, just ready to plow straight ahead, and then technique starts to come through for Cooper. A pair of significant chopping right hands. He blocks the left hook and then lands one of his own.
And one thing has been established very early, that both men can take a punch. They had to.
Imagine if they didn't like each other.
Round two. Which McCall starts a little more cautiously. Cooper more aggressively.
Tremendous.
Away with both hands. He may have a little bit of trouble. Series of hard blows to the head of McCall, who now backs over against the ropes out of the onslaught by Cooper.
McCall is in serious trouble. His legs were turned to jelly. Cooper comes up the middle. He comes over the top.
He is still wobbling.
McCall has not had the opportunity to do what he wanted, which was to smother Cooper and try to take away the left hook. Instead, he's backing straight up, which is what Cooper wanted to do, and he's in range for those bombs.
Since his opening flurry from about the 45-second mark of round one on, it has been all Cooper. It has turned directly in his favor. Oh,
Big right.
How is he staying up? He may not very long.
At least it's standing 8.
Yeah, I'd call a standing 8 right now. Referee Steve Smoger looking in very closely.
McCall avoided that by holding on for the moment. But McCall is just waiting for the next disaster. Playing a strategy because Cooper has put him on the brink of going down.
It has to be a little frustrating for Bert that he hasn't gone down, because he has certainly hit him with his best. Now McCall, after surviving at least, tries to get something done with the left hand coming through. Good hard right, a second one thrown by Cooper. That one stopped him in his tracks, forcing him to hold on over on the far side.
McCall is taking 3 or 4 howitzers at a time.
But he's taking them amazingly.
If Cooper wants to take a break and throw some body punches, he will get McCall down and out of there.
The kind of early assault that I alluded to earlier that Cooper launched on Willie DeWitt, and he was all done inside of 2 rounds with 3 knockdowns. But this man, McCall, stays on his feet. 10 seconds left in the second round. Cooper must be wondering, what on earth do I have to do to take this guy out, who has survived through 2 very tough rounds?
Give me water, Jeff.
Big Daddy. Go away. Big Daddy. The only way you're going to win the fight. Big Daddy, you got to move your hands. Just next time, take some deep breaths. Just next time, take some deep breaths. You can't quit.
Cooper's right hand dominates the action right through the open glove. Look at that facial expression.
How do you stay up after that? But he did. Here's some more.
You can't throw it any more flush than that as he gets off the top of the head. Cooper could not miss with the right hand or with the uppercut.
Get out on your knees, double hook the side, and turn it over to the head. Get up on them, Andre.
He's been so busy trying to survive, it has been impossible to mount any kind of offense against Bert Cooper, and they come out to the 3rd round. My, oh my, could he take a punch. Andre McCall from Houston, Texas, just 18 years of age, just snapping right hand again from Cooper. There's the jab coming through.
This is where Cooper's hand speed could become prevalent again, because McCall would like to try and tie him up. But if Cooper can move his hands inside, he'll negate that strategy.
Cooper, with his hands fairly low, is like a golfer on the practice range, just teeing off and having fun hitting the ball. Cooper with a big lead, naturally through 2.
The scoring won't mean much now, but if it does go all the way and McCall gets back in the fight, these early rounds will mean a lot for Cooper.
Well, McCall is trained with Tyrell Biggs and with Evander Holyfield. And with that kind of pressure, certainly from Holyfield, you get an idea as to how he was able to condition himself for this bout with Cooper. He's withstood so much today. A natural left-hander, they turned him around to the right side, McCall. He was a welterweight just 2 years ago. Just 18, he's been coming up very rapidly in the weight class.
That has to set a record for progression in weight. Tommy Hearns had tremendous difficulty, and it took him 8 years.
So he's down 50 pounds at the shade under 195 for this one, Andre McCall.
The reason he doesn't hesitate is that it's been natural weight.
He continues to take that big right hand of Cooper as though it was nothing.
Either that or he's becoming numb to it and will accept it for the privilege of trying to throw whatever he can.
Unable to throw very much. Still catching far too much into this 3rd round.
You look at the hands of McCall, gives you one indication of what he's been through so far. They are low, and it's a task for him to bring those hands up to try to stop the punches, and he's not stopping them.
And offensively, as you can see, he's getting very little done. The jab's coming up short. Cooper easily out of harm's way there. Cooper, it is so one-sided, can almost be lulled into a false sense of security and forget completely about defense, which could cost him.
And it's easy to settle in for a long fight when the best offensive does not produce the early knockout.
There is a right again that stopped McCall in his tracks. Less than 20 seconds to go in the 3rd round. Not absorb nearly as much punishment there in the 3rd, but he's still way behind. We'll be back.
Steve Martin and John Candy just met.
Flintstones, meet the Flintstones.
They have nothing in common. 5th at a theater near you.
This is where champions begin.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Mike Tyson, Terrence Ali, Ray Boom Boom Mancini. Superstars who forge steel nerves and iron punches on Bud.
Cooper can land the right hand whenever he wants. That's some scene from the last round.
He lands it. He scores with it like there, and he rocks him finally, but somehow McCall again stays on his feet, at least for now.
Well, if Cooper applies the pressure now, he very well could get him out of there.
This all happened very early in this 4th round. McCall's got a lot of hanging on to do.
You have to wonder how many times can McCall go to the brink and survive.
Well, the accumulation of those blows has got to be tremendous for him, but for now, he hangs in.
McCall has 2 tests in this fight. First is just to clear his head and get into this fight. Be here. Then he can worry about an offensive.
I'm utterly amazed as to how he has survived this far. And Cooper must feel as though a driver who just dropped a load of bricks on the road and hasn't even scratched the surface.
It's the kind of situation also for Cooper where he has expended a lot of energy and leather. He's a candidate for arm weariness if he doesn't get the job done soon.
What he's doing so effectively is the quickness which he worked on before this fight and is impressed with. He's simply getting there first and very, very forcefully against McCall. The with a minute to go in the fourth round, there's no sign of McCall fading from this fight.
If nothing else, McCall has started to sense that he can start doing some things in there and that he won't be constantly under siege.
Dropping 17 pounds has done wonders, plus conditioning for the quickness of Cooper. And really hasn't taken away that much of his power, as we've seen. So from a bad beginning to round 4, McCall is still with us. You're right, Cooper indeed could be getting on weary.
He shows you he's still in the fight anyway.
After the last round. Well, McCall, as you see what has happened here, may have been prophetic, we'll find out, but he sized up Cooper as a big slugger who walks in punching over, then he runs out of gas. You alluded to it. Could be a factor as time goes on, but McCall has certainly survived amazingly into a fifth round. It's scheduled for 12.
McCall paid one heavy price to be a prophet through 4 rounds. But once a fighter gets the feeling that he's been through the worst of it,
yeah, how much more can he do?
It completely turns him around.
The left hook again from Cooper. No shortage of confidence or determination on the part of young McCall, who jabs now with the left hand. And the scoring, well, there's no contest, obviously, in your card or anybody else's.
What that means, however, is that McCall seems to have gotten his senses back, and that's what he has to overcome between now and the end of the fight. That's what kind of a hole he's dug for himself.
When I say there should be no question about the scoring, I hark back to the last fight, which is called a draw, and I guess maybe I have to be a little hesitant before saying that, but that was a very strange decision. Obviously, no draw in progress in this one to this point. Is that right again? He buckles a bit, stops for a moment, but just keeps on coming.
The buckling is important because Cooper has not followed up after buckling McCall.
Oh, the uppercut.
Cooper shows good power going backwards. You see the wide open mouthpiece of Cooper. He's telling you that he's been through some war here so far tonight. He's going to have to capture second win.
Yeah, the gas gauge maybe a little low with 30 seconds to go in the fifth round. Still 7 scheduled after this for the 12-round distance if it goes that far. Well, McCall can ever turn this one around. It'll be a magnificent comeback. And certainly the biggest win of his career, but he's got a long way to go. The question is, can Cooper get the reserve tank going? Because he has slowed demonstrably as the fifth round comes to a close. And Andre McCall is still very much with us.
You're not fighting, right? Are you going to start fights? This round. Okay. What are you going to do when that bell rings? When that bell rings, what are you going to do? Jump on it and stay on it. Take some deep breath. Okay? All right. Now, I'm going to bleed.
Cooper comes underneath, even while backing up, lands a tremendous right uppercut, and he was able to do it a couple more times in that sequence. McCall just could not get out of the way. A lot of weapons by Cooper. He was backing up and still landed a sharp shot. Good thinking on his feet for Cooper.
You reason to be tired. You're not tired.
Go all day long in the gym, son.
You understand? Because you get on it from Bill.
You go all day long in the gym.
Wake up, wake up, wake up.
Your commander does look tired. Giving Bert his wake-up call for round 6.
I think both fighters could look back on this as the day when 5 rounds seemed like 15.
The first round seemed like 3 rounds. No question, Bert is awake as requested by his corner.
And the rejuvenated Cooper would be very bad news for McCall.
He not only has survived, he continues to come forward, although not necessarily effectively. But you get the idea that McCall has got plenty left. You said he can't possibly, in his mind, take anything worse than he's received so far.
The learning experience for McCall here is getting through a pain barrier and understanding that he was entirely thrown out of the flow of this fight in the first 3 or 4 rounds. And he lost his rhythm completely. Should he lose on points, that's what he'll have to say cost him the fight.
But as of now, he has plenty of time left.
But he would have to win every round.
Yeah. He's read about the previous pattern of Bert Cooper, and that is he does start very quickly and doesn't often finish all that well. Certainly didn't in his last fight. They exchanged heavy blows on the inside again with about a minute to go in round 6. Finally, Carl Williams took him out in the 8th round of that last fight.
Perhaps the biggest time when Cooper ran out of gas was against Reggie Gross in his first defeat. He had a big lead after 7 rounds, and one small infraction in the 8th, he lost the fight instantly. But that was in the heavyweight class. He's undefeated under the heavyweight class.
He won the cruiserweight title. He is defending here tonight from Henry Tillman, former Olympian, over 12 rounds, June 15th of '86. Has defended that on a couple of previous occasions. Less than 30 seconds to go in the 6th round. Oh, there's a shot that finally took him down. You wondered if it was possible for McCall to go down. That short, chopping right hand dropped him like lightning. He's back up, though.
He may not be allowed to keep going.
I don't think he looks really wobbly. Now they're going to send him back.
And see if he responds.
I don't think he can. No, I think that the referee, Steve Smoger, who almost stopped it, he said, no, I'm going to go back to my first instinct and make sure I stop it this time.
He allowed McCall the one last chance to show that he could respond to the situation. He watched as McCall did nothing when Cooper stormed forward, so he came forward and waited for that opportunity to stop the fight.
He had a very glazed, uncertain look when the referee questioned him at the count of 8. But he let it go one more couple of blows, and that was enough for all to see. So McCall, who's got the heart of a lion, hoping to slow Cooper down and produce fatigue on his part and turn this fight around, simply ran out of steam with his right hand.
That was a monster punch by Cooper. One of many he's thrown in this fight, but compiled upon all the offense he was throwing up until that point. It was the punch that did it.
McCall loses for the first time in his professional career. He's now 13-1 with a draw.
And in retrospect, you kind of have to think he was put in over his head because he wasn't in this fight. He showed that he could come back and try to clear his head and take a lot of punches, but he was not a factor.
And so the winner, Cooper, goes to 17-2 with 14 knockouts among those 17 victories. As they check McCall carefully, he looks to be all right. Let's go down to Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Steve Smoger stops about at 2 minutes, 54 seconds of the 6th round. The winner by TKO, and still the NABF Cruiserweight Champion, Smoking Bert Cooper.
So better days ahead for Bert, who retains his North American Boxing Federation Cruiserweight crown here in impressive fashion, although it took him longer than he figured to get the job done. And from McCall, a learning experience, there'll be a lot of guys who'll think twice about facing the hard head of Andre McCall in the future. Stay with us. We'll be back. So,
Thank you, Don. Here with an emotional Bert Cooper after a tremendous win tonight. Bert, a big night for you. Did you think it was going to take this long the way this fight started?
No, I didn't. I thought it was going to go real quick. But the guy, he stood up. He was strong. You know, he fought back. He came to fight tonight. But I stopped all that.
Did you expect the fight to come out blazing like it did?
Well, not exactly. I thought he was going to freeze up a little bit. I didn't know what he was going to do. You know, so I just paced myself and, you know, took my time and fought. You know, I found out the right punch. I did it. You know.
It seemed like you couldn't miss him with the right hand.
I couldn't. The right hand was right there. I mean, his head was right there. You know, and the right hand, bam. You know, everywhere the right hand goes, his head was. You know, and that was it. You know, I did what I proved myself. You know, came back and destroyed.
Okay, tell us about the punch here. You can be the first to see it on instant replay and give us a little bit of description about the knockout.
That right hand right there. His head was right there all the time. Look at it. You couldn't take that overhand.
Did you think it was any different from the other right hands you threw tonight, or was it just an accumulation to that point?
I put more of my body to it, in it, you know, in the punch, and that's what caught him. I, you know, put all my force into it, you know, and he couldn't take it.
What type of fights would you like to see next? How did you feel back at this weight class?
Well, I don't know. You had to talk to my manager about that.
About your personal opinion, though, about how you felt fighting at this weight class.
Oh, I feel good. Oh, perfect. Good. That's why I should have been there all along, you know. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lock myself up like I did this time and do the job, get the world's title. Because the smoke ain't no joke.
Do you feel like you're ready to fight for a cruiserweight title now?
Yes, I feel good, real confident, you know. Like I can just dominate, because ain't nobody out there for me.
You know? Okay, there was a lot of smoke for Bert Cooper tonight. It came out of the guns in the 6th round. The big right hand sounding off as he did the entire fight. Bert Cooper puts away Andre McCall, and we'll be back right after this.